Okay, folks, here we go again. Welcome back. Contrary to what I said in a couple of videos ago, it looks as though this will be the last of the science fiction vintage paperback pickups, because it seems that I've cleared them out. They led me to believe that they had a stock, but apparently the stock wasn't as big as I anticipated. So yeah, so those of you not even remotely interested in science fiction, paperbacks will be breathing a sigh of relief, because there won't be any more of them, I don't think. So let's crack on then. This is what I picked up a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, I remember having this one when I had my large collection. It's not in great shape. Pen on the cover there, but I really don't mind too much when a book's this old. I mean, this particular one is an anthology from I would guess the 50s. Yeah, no, actually 64. I mean, it's still quite old, But yeah, I mean, I don't get too fussy about condition, to be honest. Right, that's a more recent book by an author. C.J. Cherry has been round the block a few times. Down Below Station, I think that says they won the Hugo Award, so it must be decent. It's in nice condition, nice cover, and that one is vintage. I'll find the page. That one is vintage 1983. So that's a bit more modern, if you like. Then we have, I remember this one as well from when I had my large collection, Space Opera, edited by Brian Ordus. Now, as I said, I'm not a big fan of space opera, but you've got to try and read all aspects of the genre. So I'll probably give that one a look. I think this one, although it's in very nice shape, I think this one's a little bit older. Where are we? This is 1974. And that's the first UK paperback. So that's getting on a bit. Now, I like this author, Clifford Simak. One of my favourite books is The City, a novel that he did many moons ago. This is more a fantasy, apparently, but it's not in bad shape. I thought I'd pick it up because I don't have too many books by him, and I do like him. This particular one is a 1985 vintage, so again, it's a little bit more modern, if you like. Right, I have the first 3 Dune books, and this is the 4th, so yeah, I'm going in the right direction. I think I just need the 5th now. I think Herbert only wrote 5 Dune books before his death, and then it was taken on by his son, I think. It's not in bad shape. It's got a little bit of a wonk there, as you can see, but obviously been read a couple of times. Yeah, I think the Heretics of Dune that mentioned on the back here is the other one that I need to complete the sets. There's quite a large book, and this one is vintage. Oh, right, this is 1982, but it's a 26th printing, so who knows? It says 1982, but it could be far more recent than that. Yeah, 26th printing. It shows you how popular that particular series was. Now I've shown you some of the Doc Smith stuff before. I bought quite a load of them. This one is another one of his characters, Lord Tedrick, who I'm absolutely not familiar with. Never, well, I have heard of him, but I've never seen many of his books around. So this one's this one's in particularly nice condition. Small volume, so I might kick off my look at space opera with this one. This one is a 1979 vintage, so you know, not bad for 40 odd years old. Then we have another one that I seem to remember having back in the day, Flying Saucers by David Gerald and Larry Niven. I had an American version of it. This is Corgi version. Quite a nice cover, that, but there again it leans more towards fantasy and science fiction, and that Corgi edition was published in 1975, so it looks like a first British paperback edition. And now, I've never heard of this publisher before, The Woman's Press. Josephine Saxon I have heard of, but the book itself, Queen of the States, I haven't. I thought this might be quite scarce, bearing in mind, you know, it's a small press. But yeah, you can get it on eBay quite reasonably. Not scarce in any way. And that particular edition is dated, get round to it, it's 1986, so it's, you know, but it is a first UK paperback edition, but a bit more modern. And this last one is even more modern, but I read the back of this and it sounded quite interesting. You know, for £2 you're getting a modern book. I mean, this cost £7 when it was published, and it's, you know, it's only been read. You can see on the spine there, it's only been read once or twice. Trouble with these thick books is they tend to get a bit worn. Once they've been read more than a couple of times, they tend to start cracking and getting a bit worn down there, but that one's okay. Excuse me. And this one is far more up to date. This is it's 1998, so it's only, you know, just over 20 years old, but it is a first British paperback. So I thought for a couple of quid we'd have a bash at that. Not exactly vintage, but again, this next lot has got even less vintage in, because this is where I'm coming to the back end of all the stuff in the shop now. So this next lot is the stuff I bought last week. Interesting one to kick off with. Some of you might be familiar with Captain W.E. Johns. He's the fellow who wrote the Biggles series of books, probably juvenile you could call them, but a very popular series in their day about an aircraft pilot. And I wasn't aware that he'd done any science fiction. This particular one looks to be in 1950s, but yeah, no, this edition was published in 1970 actually, which surprised me. It looks more like a 1950s book, but yeah, again, it's still what, 50 years old. There's the first of two, but the other one wasn't there, unfortunately. Best of British SF, Volume 1, in very reasonable condition. This kind of covers early days H.G. Wells, John Wyndham sort of stuff I used to read when I was a kid. through to Arthur Clarke, John Brunner and Brian Aldiss, more contemporary authors. This particular edition was published in 1977 and is a first British paperback edition. Nice cover. Next we have not heard of this one. I've got a few Larry Niven books in my collection, and I had a lot more, but I've never heard of this one. So it's obviously a more modern novel. Larry Niven, The Integral Trees. It's a Futura publication, and it was published in, find it, 1985, this particular one, so not quite as old as I would like, but beggars can't be choosers. This goes back a ways. Prologue to Analog. Now, for those of you unfamiliar with science fiction magazines, Analog was a very famous sort of like pulp magazine. I can't remember when it started, but it was like a digest pulp magazine, much like magazine of fantasy and science fiction, and it dealt with the hard science stories, whereas fantasy and science fiction dealt with sort of like the more soft I can't remember what they used to call it, but anyway, this dealt with sort of like hard nuts and bolts science fiction, and this is some of the stories from Analog, and it's the first of two, and it was published in 1967. So if you like your hard science fiction. Now this one, I thought I had all the Foundation books, so I'll have to check mine out to see if my set, one of them's have been retitled, but I certainly haven't got the one called Forward the Foundation. As you can see, it's the conclusion to the Foundation series, which was 7 books, I believe. Not in too bad shape at all, apart from that ugly sticker on the back, but I'm not even going to try and remove that. It looks very uninviting. And this particular one was published in 1994, but it looks like a first British paperback. Now the other 3 I've got are very, very recent, but I just bought them because they were in fair condition, and they look like a large read, good value for money. This one is Will Baker, who I've never heard of, Star Beast, the enthralling novel of tomorrow's world. I've got no idea. Some post-apocalyptic story apparently, which appeals to me, and this particular one was published in 1996, so quite recent. I think these next couple are even more so. Unfortunately, it's a 3-volume series, and they're all quite large. As you can see, that one's in nice condition. It's got the shine to it, and it's as I say, it's the Saga of the Seven Sons, book 2. So I've got book 3 there, and this one is from 2003, but again it's 2004, but again it's a first British paperback. And then the other volume's not quite as See, it looks in good condition, but a lot of the shine's been worn off and it looks a bit grubby. Nevertheless, you know, for a couple of quid, something of that size. That's the third volume of the Seven Sons saga, and again this one was 2004, but it's a first UK paperback. So there we have it, my friends. That looks like the end of the science fiction. I've got some nice stuff coming in the post over the next week or two, because stuff with COVID, stuff seems to be taking a lot longer to come through, at least where I live. So I just you know, get it when I get it. But yeah, I'll have some nice steelies to show you from Switch Games. I didn't know there were so many Switch steelbooks actually. So yeah, I'll be interested to see what they look like. I'll be knocking those out, and I've got a really off the wall one for you actually. I mean, this is a collecting channel, so I know we do the popular stuff and we also do the very niche stuff. But I've got a collection of Speedway enamel badges, which I shall be regaling you with in the not too distant future. So yeah, stick around for that one, because you might learn something from that. Anyway, that's the end of this video, and thank you all very much for watching. Thank you for continuing to subscribe. The subscriptions continue to rise at a slow rate, but nevertheless they rise, and a few more views would be nice as well. So tell all your friends that there's this mad old geezer who does videos about collecting stuff, and yeah, we might get a few more views, which would be nice. But as long as I've got a few, I'm not bothered really. I can talk to 10 as much as I can talk to 100 or 200 or 1,000. So it's just me talking, isn't it? So anyway, thank you very much again, and I'll stop drawing now, and we'll see you shortly.